Hey guys, in this book review I'm going to be talking about the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger. The first book being Soulless, Changeless, Blameless, Heartless, and Timeless. Alexia Terabati is many things. First, she's Italian and also a spinster. But even more, she has no soul, which makes her quite useful when it comes to supernatural beings. With one touch, Alexia can nullify the powers of vampires and werewolves. In this first book, Soulless, Alexia comes to realize that werewolves and vampires are mysteriously disappearing. So Alexia has to team up with Lord Macon, a werewolf who keeps tabs on supernatural beings for Queen Victoria. So together, Alexia and Lord Macon, they have to figure out the cause of these disappearances and maybe even face some attraction to one another. Before I totally get going with my thoughts on this series, I will start off and say that there will be absolutely no spoilers for all 5 books. I'm going to try and talk about all 5 of these books in as broad a manner as I can, just to kind of give you an idea on the series and just my thoughts on whether or not I liked it or not. So to talk about all 5 books in general, I just really adored these books. They were so fun, so clever, so just adorable, hilarious. You have romance, you have action. It's kind of just all there in these books. I don't think I've read any book quite like this series. There's just something really unique and refreshing about Gail Carriger's writing. It's incredibly humorous, it's incredibly witty, and I think most important of all, it's cleverly intelligent. And the series in general just has everything. It has a very capable heroine, it has a dashing hero, it has steampunk elements, it takes place in an alternative Victorian London. It's just all great. And each book is very quick and easy to read. I mean, you literally just can fly through the pages. And some genuinely laugh out loud moments. I don't often laugh out loud during books. I have laughed out loud during books, but it takes a lot to make me laugh out loud. And in each of these books, I think I laughed out loud numerous times, which was great. And something else that I loved about these books, they're basically a crossover between Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Pride and Prejudice. How much more awesome can that be? And the books, like I keep mentioning, they're very humorous, and they're definitely clearly commentary on Victorian society. Just excellent parodies of Victorian society, poking fun at Victorian taboos. I guess just to talk a little more in depth about Alexia Terabati, like I have said a few times now, she's a very capable heroine, she's super witty, she's great with puns, she's just hilarious. Like I said in my synopsis, she's Italian, or half Italian actually, she's a spinster, she's considered like freaking old for Victorian standards. And yeah, I mean, she just speaks what's on her mind. She's incredibly blunt. She shocks people with her bluntness. It's like Alexia, she fits into the time period, but then she also kind of doesn't fit into the time period. I like how Gail Carriger kind of balances that Alexia kind of has Victorian mannerisms, but then she also has more modern mannerisms. I just like how Gail Carriger kind of blended those kind of 2 personalities of Alexia into one character. And she fights werewolves and vampires in a corset, you guys. It's great. Can we talk about all the other characters for a quick minute? My god, I loved so many of the characters in this series. I mean, first of all, Alexia is just super amazing. I kept thinking to myself, how can Gail Carriger top the amazingness that is Alexia? And my goodness, here comes Madame LeFou. Madame LeFou doesn't even pop up until book 2, but she quickly steals the series. I also loved Professor Lyle, who is Lord Macon's like second in command. Professor Lyle, he's so charming. He's kind of like a sideline character. He doesn't say much. He can say a lot without saying anything. And then you have characters like Lord Akeldama, who is kind of one of the leading vampires in Victorian society. He's incredibly flamboyant, super gay. He's like Alexia's gay best friend, to just state it that way. He loves fashion and makeup, and it's all sorts of great. You even have Alexia's best friend who's just a plain human named Ivy Hizzlepenny. Ivy has this penchant for ugly hats, which is just a hilarious joke running through every single book. You even got the introduction of this other werewolf named Lord Channing of the Chesterfield Channings. He has like the best name in the whole damn series. And then you also have Alexia's butler named Flute, who's just adorable. So yeah, this series is littered with these wonderfully fascinating, unique, and refreshing characters. They all just play and bounce off of each other so perfectly. The characters are what make this series so special, in my opinion. And you may have noticed I have left out Lord Macon, Alexia's love interest. I've kind of done that on purpose. I wanted to save Lord Macon for last. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love Lord Macon. As an individual character, I think he's really interesting. But there were moments throughout the series that I just did not buy the Alexia and Lord Macon relationship. I bought their relationship in book 1. In book 1, their relationship was really steamy and sexy and just engaging. But something happened in between the series. Books 2, 3, and 4, I felt like there was barely any Alexia and Lord Macon. It's like the relationship kind of dropped off the map. It's like it was there, it was present, but it wasn't interesting. Their relationship was kind of boring, and Lord Macon sometimes just didn't serve anything within the context of the story. I mean, sometimes it felt like Gail Carriger was maybe even bored with his character, that she didn't even know what to do with his character, because there's all these other fascinating characters in the series, and they all easily outshine Lord Macon's character, and it felt like Gail Carriger kind of wanted to focus on those characters and their relationship with Alexia more so than Alexia and Lord Macon's relationship. So yeah, I definitely feel like Lord Macon's character suffered deeply in books 2, 3, and 4. Like I said, he was just kind of bland and boring. It's like I liked him as an individual, but at the same time, it's like he served nothing in the story. But finally, book 5. Book 5 is kind of very much like book 1 in some ways. Alexia and Lord Macon, their relationship, it's just kind of the same once again. It's engaging and captivating once again, and more importantly, it's steamy and sexy again. Because I think that might have been my problem with books 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4 just felt like their relationship wasn't steamy or sexy. Like I keep saying, it was kind of boring, and yeah, you just didn't really care for them together. You didn't know why they were together. So yeah, enough of my love of the characters. How about just my general thoughts and feelings on the books? Like I keep saying, what Gail Carriger does the best in this series is definitely the humor and definitely the characters. What I think kind of lacks in this series, sometimes I felt like the world building was a little bit lacking. I don't know. I mean, it's a steampunk alternative London, and you would think there would be just an enormous amount of just really interesting things, but sometimes I kind of felt like the Victorian London in this book, it was just the same as, you know, the real world Victorian London, except it would have a few little fantasy elements to it, like the floating, what are they called, dirigibles? Is that how it's pronounced? The little balloon thingies? That they were like the equivalent of airplanes. And then sometimes there would be steampunkery like gadgets and gizmos, and then like Alexia's parasol that has like darts and poison and stuff in it so she can kill werewolves and vampires. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, sometimes I didn't feel like there was enough world building going on. There wasn't enough steampunk for me. And I think my one big negative with every book, this is every book in the series in my opinion, Gail Carriger does a great job of starting the story and building up to a middle point, and then sometimes I feel like the ending of every book kind of falls apart a bit. Like things are going in really interesting places and you get the big climax, and then all of a sudden the books, they kind of just end very rapidly, like super quick, and things are wrapped up kind of conveniently, and sometimes just little nice bow ties to end each book. And yeah, I didn't like how each book would end so quickly, especially considering the nice build-up Gail Carriger would do for the rest of the book. So the big question, if I had to kind of rate these books from like my least favorite to my favorite, oh, that's kind of a difficult one. I'll see if I can try though. In the comments below, I'd really like to hear your list of like least favorite to favorites. I'm very curious if we all have similar taste. I enjoyed every one of these books. It was kind of difficult to list them, but I think at number 5 I would have Blameless. Blameless is the one that sees Alexia and some of her friends go to Italy for some spoilery reasons. And then number 4, I think I would have Timeless, and in this book Alexia and company go off to Egypt. And then at number 3, I think I would have the very first book, Soulless. And then at number 2, I think I would have Changeless, and this one, Alexia and Lord Macon, they head off to Scotland to deal with another werewolf pack. And then I think my favorite book in this whole series was probably Heartless, book number 4. Oh goodness, I definitely can't give any spoilers away for this one, but my goodness, I love this book so much. It kind of just had everything in the world that I loved. So that's my general thoughts and feelings on the Parasol Protectorate. I'm kind of sitting here wishing I could go more into spoilers because there's just so much going on in this series that I enjoyed so much, especially more character specific stuff. But yeah, in the comments below, if you've read these books, my god, go spoiler crazy. You might want to warn people that you're about to go into spoilers, but please go spoiler crazy because I would love to talk about just more spoilery topics and more of the plot and whatnot. So yeah, have you guys read this series? Do you intend on reading it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this book review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this book review, you may like these other book reviews. Bye guys.